After years of feeling trapped in a loveless marriage, I found solace in the arms of another man. I thought I was being careful until my husband found a receipt for a hotel room. He held it up and whispered, "Who's he?" I met his eyes and smiled, the man who showed me what love feels like. His hands shook. "So this is how you end it?" I leaned in and whispered, "You ended it long before I did." Then I walked away and left him with the divorce papers on the table. I'm 41. I've been married to Craig for 19 years. We met at Penn State when I was 22. Back then, he was everything I thought I wanted: clean-cut, smart, driven, the kind of guy who seemed like he'd have his life together forever. He was already talking about 401 Burmese chots, career paths, and real estate when the rest of us were just trying to make it through finals. He liked to plan things. I liked to feel safe. He asked me to marry him the day after graduation. I said yes because it made sense. He was stable, I was tired of dating boys who ghosted after a few weeks, and I thought love was supposed to be something that grew over time. It wasn't fireworks, but it was calm, secure, solid. We moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and started building a life. I got a job teaching preschool. He landed a finance position at a bank in Philadelphia. Commute was rough, but he didn't mind. Said it gave him time to think. We had 2 kids within the first 6 years, both planned, both healthy, both my entire world. From the outside, it looked like a good marriage. We owned a 2-story colonial with a big yard and white shutters. Our kids played soccer. We had a golden retriever named Max. I cooked dinner most nights, even though I was exhausted from work. Craig paid the bills on time, mowed the lawn every Saturday, and kissed me on the forehead before leaving for the office. But that's all. It was routine. Somewhere around year 8 or 9, I realized I couldn't remember the last time we'd had a real conversation. Not about the kids. Not about groceries. Not about what time his train came in. A real conversation. One where I felt like he saw me. We'd sit in the same room and not say anything for hours. He'd scroll through his phone or put on ESPN. I'd fold laundry or grade papers. Our bedroom life was dead. I stopped trying after a while. Every rejection felt like proof that I didn't matter. I used to cry in the shower just so the kids wouldn't hear me. I told myself this was what marriage looked like after so many years. You become roommates. You get comfortable. You make peace with the loneliness because it's familiar. You tell yourself that staying is better for the kids. That leaving would be selfish. That maybe things will change once the kids get older. But things didn't change. They got quieter. Colder. Then I met Jeremy. It wasn't planned. I wasn't looking. I wasn't even thinking about cheating. I had signed up to help with a Habitat for Humanity event through the school I work at. A bunch of us teachers volunteered to help build a house in Harrisburg one Saturday. Jeremy was there, hammer in hand, cracking jokes, sweating through his t-shirt like it was nothing. He looked at me like I was there. Like I wasn't just a tired mom with dry shampoo in her hair and permanent bags under her eyes. He smiled like I was funny. Not out of politeness, really smiled. The kind that makes you feel human again. We talked that day about dumb stuff. Favorite pizza toppings. Music we grew up on. He liked Bon Jovi. I rolled my eyes and said he had the music taste of a dad. He laughed. I remember that laugh. It hit something I didn't know was still alive in me. We started texting. It was innocent at first. Memes. Funny videos. Random updates. But it turned into late-night conversations when Craig was asleep. I would lie there in the dark, screen glowing under the covers, smiling like a teenager. I should have felt guilty. I didn't. One night, Jeremy sent a voice message. Just him saying goodnight. That's it. But I listened to it 5 times. A week later, we met for lunch. Then dinner. Then one night, I told Craig I had a parent-teacher conference and booked a hotel room 40 minutes away. Jeremy met me there. I won't go into the details. But that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt seen. I felt wanted. That first night turned into many. We were careful. Cash payments. Deleted texts. Burner app for calls. I told myself I had it under control. I told myself it wasn't hurting anyone. But that's a lie. I was hurting. Every time I went home and looked at Craig's empty expression, I felt sick. I didn't want to destroy my family. But I also didn't want to keep pretending I was okay. I started sleeping on the edge of the bed. I stopped cooking dinner. Craig didn't say anything. He didn't ask why I was distant. He didn't ask anything. That was what hurt the most. Not the silence. The indifference. Then I screwed up. One afternoon, I came home in a rush. I had been with Jeremy the night before. We stayed at a place called the Elmwood Inn in Hershey. It wasn't fancy, but it was private. I always threw away the receipts. Always. Except that day I didn't. I'd stuffed it in the pocket of my coat, and in my tired haze, I forgot all about it. Craig rarely touches my stuff. I thought I was safe. 2 nights later, I came home and found him sitting at the kitchen table. He was quiet. Just staring down at a piece of paper. It was the receipt. He looked up slowly, held it in his hand like it was radioactive. Then he said it. Quiet. Dead calm. Who's he? I swear I stopped breathing. Part of me wanted to lie. Part of me wanted to cry and beg. But something inside me just snapped. I looked him right in the eye and said, "The man who showed me what love feels like." His whole face changed. I'll never forget the way his hands started shaking. He looked like he wanted to scream but didn't know how. Like the breath got punched out of him and he couldn't get it back. "So this is how you ended?" he whispered. I leaned in. "You ended it long before I did." Then I pulled a manila envelope out of my purse. Placed it on the table. Inside were the divorce papers. I had filed weeks ago. I just hadn't told him yet. I didn't scream. He didn't either. There was no big fight. Just quiet. That heavy, final kind of quiet that fills a room after someone says something you can't take back. I went upstairs. Packed a bag. Came back down. He hadn't moved. I walked out the door. And now, I don't know what happens next. I stayed with a friend for a while, Allison, another teacher. She didn't ask questions. Just handed me a spare key and poured wine. I slept on her pull-out couch for 3 nights straight without really sleeping. Jeremy offered his place, but I told him I needed time. I couldn't jump from one man's house to another. I needed to feel like I could breathe again. Craig didn't call. Not once. But then the text started. Not from him. From my oldest, Eli. He's 15. He wrote, "Why did you leave?" That one cracked something in me. I stared at the screen for 10 minutes before replying. "It's complicated, honey. I love you so much." He never replied. Next day, a lawyer called. Craig had hired one. I had too, but I didn't think it would move this fast. I guess I thought he'd want to talk, figure things out, maybe yell a little. But no. He was all business. Fine. But then I got a letter. Mailed. On real paper. Who even does that anymore? It was from his lawyer. And it wasn't just a list of demands, it was a threat. Craig wanted full custody of the kids. Full. As in, I get weekends if I'm lucky. His claim? I was unstable. And, this part burned, I had exposed the children to inappropriate influences and environments. Jeremy. He was using Jeremy. Now here's the thing, I hadn't introduced Jeremy to the kids. I kept them separate. I was waiting for things to settle before even thinking about blending those two parts of my life. But Craig was twisting it. He made it sound like I was dragging them into hotel rooms and parading my affair around town. I was shaking. Literally shaking. I called him. First time we'd spoken since that night. He picked up on the second ring. "You're really trying to take them from me?" His voice was cold. "You left. I left you. Not them." He didn't respond right away. Then, low and bitter, "You don't get to blow up this family and pretend like you're the hero." "I'm not pretending." "No. You're just rewriting history to make yourself sleep at night." And then he hung up. A week later, I got served again. This time with emotion. He was requesting an emergency hearing to limit my contact with the kids until custody was resolved. Said I was emotionally erratic. Said I had exhibited poor judgment. Said I was cohabitating with an unrelated adult male. I wasn't even living with Jeremy. He was painting me as some kind of unstable floozy. I showed the papers to my lawyer. She told me we'd fight it. That he didn't have enough evidence. But her eyes shifted a little when she said it. Like she wasn't fully sure. That night, I went to Jeremy's place. He made me dinner. Burgers and sweet potato fries. I didn't eat. Just pushed food around my plate and tried not to cry. He finally asked, "Do you want me to back off?" I looked up. He was serious. "If I'm making this harder, I'll go." And just like that, I felt myself breaking open. "No. Please don't." Because no matter how messy this got, he was the only person who made me feel whole. But at the same time, I knew Craig would use every second I spent with Jeremy against me. I didn't sleep at his place that night. 3 days later, Eli showed up at Allison's door. Just him. He didn't say anything at first. Just stood there, hands in his hoodie pockets, eyes red. I pulled him into the apartment, heart racing. "What's going on?" He shrugged. Sat on the couch. Quiet. Then he said, "Dad's seeing someone." I blinked. "What?" "Like, really seeing someone. She was at the house yesterday. Slept over." My heart dropped. Not because I wanted Craig back, God, no, but because I knew what this meant. He was already building his own version of events. I was the cheater, the reckless one. He was the hurt father, trying to rebuild. But he was already dating someone. Probably had been before he found that receipt. I asked Eli if he was okay. He nodded. "She's nice. But I don't know. Everything's just messed up now." I didn't push. I just sat next to him. Let him rest his head on my shoulder like he did when he was little. Then he asked, "Did you love Dad? Like, ever?" I felt that question in my bones. "Yes," I said. I just stopped recognizing him. He didn't ask more. And I didn't offer. A few nights later, Craig texted. We need to talk. Alone. I agreed. We met in a coffee shop halfway between both houses. He looked tired. Thinner. Hair messy. Not the man who always wore crisp collars and polished shoes. He stared at his coffee. Then at me. Did you love him? Jeremy? I wasn't going to lie. Not now. Yes. He nodded slowly. Jaw clenched. Still do. Yes. Another pause. Then he leaned forward, lowered his voice. You know what hurts the most? I waited. You never fought for me. You just walked away. That hit hard. Because he was right. I didn't fight. I stopped fighting years ago. Maybe I should have screamed more. Demanded more. Pushed for counseling. I didn't. I just drifted until I wasn't there anymore. But I wasn't going to apologize for leaving. I was drowning, I said quietly. And you didn't even notice. The custody battle is still going. The lawyers are circling like sharks. Every text I send is documented. Every visit timed. Jeremy is being patient, but I see the sadness in his eyes. He doesn't say it, but I know this is weighing on him. And Craig? He's still pretending to be the wounded party. But here's the twist I didn't see coming. A woman, Rachel, from Craig's office, messaged me. Just so you know, you weren't the only one. She included screenshots. Messages from Craig. Flirty. Overt. From months before he found my receipt. Some even went back over a year. He had been having his own thing. Just quieter. Cleaner. Hidden behind a better mask. I stared at those screenshots until my vision blurred. He knew he was doing it too. But he needed a villain. And I was easier to blame. Now I don't know what to do with this. If I use it in court, I stoop to his level. But if I don't, he keeps playing the saint. This story's not over. It's just getting darker. I didn't show the messages to my lawyer right away. I needed time to breathe, to decide if I really wanted to drag this through the mud. But then I got a call from the school principal. That's when everything tilted. He asked me to come in for a confidential conversation. I assumed it had something to do with one of my students. Maybe a parent complaint. It happens. I even told him I'd bring in updated lesson plans while I was at it. But when I sat down in his office, he slid a folded piece of paper across the desk. An anonymous letter. Typed. Single-spaced. No signature. But I knew exactly where it came from. It was full of phrases like inappropriate behavior, moral conduct, and concerns over a potential relationship with a volunteer. Jeremy. It brought up my involvement with Habitat for Humanity. Said there were rumors I'd been meeting a man in hotels while still teaching. Claimed I wasn't a trustworthy role model for young children. Said the school should reevaluate my position. My heart was thudding so hard I thought I might pass out. The principal looked uncomfortable. Said he didn't believe it personally, but the board had to take these things seriously. Have you had any romantic involvement with any volunteers or community partners? I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just looked him in the eye and said, not during school activities. Never on school grounds. Because it was the truth. That night, I sat in my car in the driveway, staring at my steering wheel. He was trying to destroy me. He couldn't take the kids yet. So now he was trying to take my job. I called my lawyer the next morning. Sent her the letter. Told her about the text from Rachel. She didn't even hesitate. We're filing a motion. And we're going to court with this. Here's the thing. I thought Craig was cold. I thought he was indifferent. But what I'm learning now is that he was strategic. Calculated. He'd been cheating too. Quietly. Safely. But he knew if it came out, it would ruin his family man image. So instead, he played the long game. He waited. Let me mess up first. Let me be the one who got caught. Then he flipped the narrative, painted himself as the victim, and started turning everything into a chess match. Except now I had the screenshots. The messages. The proof. From Rachel. From another coworker. Even from one of his old clients who had screenshotted an awkward text he sent her last year. He'd made himself look clean, but he wasn't. But here's where things really twisted. 2 days before our hearing, I got a voicemail. From Jeremy's ex-wife. I didn't even know he had one. He told me they'd never married. Said it was a brief thing, didn't last long, no paperwork, no big deal. Turns out that wasn't true. They had been married. And divorced. But not as amicably as he made it sound. Her voice was tight. Cold. You don't know who you're dealing with. I called her back. Needed to understand. She told me Jeremy had cheated on her. That she left after she found texts from 2 other women. That he had a pattern. Show up, say all the right things, make you feel like the only person in the world, then drift. That he was never violent. Never mean. But never fully honest, either. My throat went dry. I asked her the only thing I cared about. Was he seeing someone when we met? There was a pause. Then, I don't know. Maybe. Wouldn't surprise me. That night, I confronted Jeremy. He didn't deny the past. Said he'd changed. Said I was different. But suddenly all the little things I'd brushed aside came back like echoes. The delayed replies. The nights he said he was too tired to talk. The hesitation when I asked about his past. I didn't accuse him. Didn't yell. I just sat on his couch and stared at my hands. I need space, I said. Real space. He nodded. Said he understood. But I could see the fear behind his eyes. Like maybe he realized he'd lost me the same way I'd slipped away from Craig. I didn't go back to Allison's. I drove to a cheap Airbnb an hour outside the city. Just me, a backpack, and silence. The hearing came and went. My lawyer crushed it. We presented everything: Craig's texts, his messages, the job sabotage. The judge didn't make any final rulings yet, but he saw through Craig's performance. I kept my job. I kept joint custody. But the war isn't over. Craig is still pushing. Still whispering things to the kids. Still pretending. Jeremy keeps calling. I keep ignoring. I don't know what this story is turning into. I just know I don't recognize myself anymore. But for once, maybe that's a good thing. It happened in the middle of a Sunday service. No, I'm not religious, not anymore. But my daughter, Lila, had a little choral performance at the church she goes to with Craig. It was a community thing. They invited all the parents. I went because I wasn't going to let everything we were going through stop me from showing up for my kid. Craig was there, of course. Front row. His new girlfriend, Amanda, sat beside him. Perfect blowout, pearl earrings, conservative cardigan. The whole step-forward look. She smiled at me with pity in her eyes like she already knew everything about me. I ignored her. Lila sang her song. She was nervous but beautiful. Afterward, there was coffee and cookies in the church hall. Kids ran around. Parents chatted. I tried to grab a coffee and get out fast. Then Jeremy walked in. I froze. He wasn't supposed to be there. He knew I needed space. Knew this was a school/church event. Knew Craig and Amanda would be there. But still, he walked in, holding a tiny gift bag for Lila like this was normal. I knew what was about to happen before it happened. Craig spotted him. And everything cracked. He stood up, walked straight to Jeremy, and said loud enough for the whole room to hear, "What the hell are you doing here?" Jeremy didn't flinch. Just held up the gift bag and said, "I came for Lila." Craig stepped closer. "You don't get to show up here like this. You're nothing to her." People turned. Eyes shifted. Conversations paused. Then Craig's voice rose. "You're the homewrecker, right? That's what you want to be known as? You think you can just walk in and play daddy?" Jeremy clenched his jaw. Still didn't move. I stepped in, put a hand on his arm. "Don't. Please." But Craig wasn't done. He looked at me. "You gonna let him do this? Let him drag our daughter into your mess?" And that was it. Everything I'd been holding in, all the lies, the gaslighting, the guilt he tried to dump on me while he cleaned up his own, boiled over. "You mean like you did with Amanda?" Dead silence. Amanda blinked, stunned. Some people gasped. I didn't care. "Don't act like you're the saint here, Craig," I said, voice shaking. "You were already cheating. You were just better at hiding it." He looked stunned for a split second, then furious. "That's not the same. You tried to ruin me," I cut in. "You went after my job. You tried to take the kids. You made me out to be the villain while you were sleeping with your coworker. And now you want to play protector." Amanda stood up then. She turned to Craig. "Is that true?" He didn't answer. He couldn't. Amanda walked out. Didn't say another word. Jeremy left, too. Quietly. No drama. He just put the gift bag on the table and slipped out. I stood there, shaking, holding back tears in a room full of whispering strangers and confused children. Lila came running up, tears in her eyes. "Mom, why are people staring?" I knelt down, wrapped my arms around her. Because grown-ups forget how to act sometimes. Craig called that night. Didn't yell. Didn't defend himself. He just said, "You didn't have to do it like that." I said, "You didn't have to lie. Or try to destroy me." He hung up. Since then, communication's been cold. Efficient. Custody schedules. Calendar invites. Short texts. Nothing more. Amanda blocked him, I heard. Rachel confirmed it. As for Jeremy, we talked. Once. He apologized. Not for showing up, but for hiding the truth about his past. He said he wanted to be better. That I made him want that. But I told him I needed to be on my own for a while. And I meant it. I still wake up some mornings feeling like a ghost. Like I walked out of my old life and into an empty space that still echoes. But other mornings I feel something else. Peace. The kids are adjusting. They ask questions. I answer the best I can without poisoning them with bitterness. Eli is still distant, but he hugs me now. That's something. Lila hums in the kitchen again. And me? I'm in therapy. Real therapy. Not just reading articles at 2 a.m. I've started painting. Badly. But it helps. I'm learning what it feels like to choose myself. I don't know what the future looks like. Maybe I'll fall in love again. Maybe not. But I know this much. I will never shrink myself again to make someone else comfortable. I spent too many years whispering in rooms where I should have been screaming. Not anymore.